Hey guys, JoJo here. So the other day I was flipping through my graphic novels and I stumbled across one that I hadn't read in a very long time, so I thought I would give it a little revisit and maybe do a video for you guys. So that's why we're here, and I'm about to give you my thoughts on The Killing Joke by Alan Moore, art by Brian Boland, and color by John Higgins. Guys, if you haven't read this and you're a DC fan, you're any kind of Joker fan, you really should try to get your hands on this. It is a classic, and I'm sure many of you out there have already read it, but nevertheless, I've never covered it on my channel, so I thought, why not? Now, I will be going into spoilers, so if you haven't read it, what the heck you waiting for? It came out in 1988. It's a year younger than me. So, you really need to get to your local comic shop to buy this thing. Now, on the surface, you'll hear a lot of people describe this novel as a Joker origin story, which it is to a certain degree, but for me it's much more of an exploration of the dichotomy between sanity versus insanity, and you will see that theme throughout this book. I mean, even on the back art here, you got the playing card with Joker on one side and Batman on the other, you know, kind of symbolic of a yin-yang, you know, the extremes, and they can't really live without one another. They create one whole. So that is what I love about this book particularly. Now, I said I hadn't read it in a long time, and that's true. And I'll tell you why. Like, even though it is masterfully written and drawn, I'm very, like, traumatized with its content, to be honest. It was really tough getting through it. It's a hard read, and I don't mean that because of the words written on the pages. It's the idea and the concept and what is happening to our characters that we love, and it's tragic, you know, and that's what makes it hard to deal with, and that's what makes it good though at the same time. This book is not for kids, flat out. There's several adult themes in it, and it's pretty graphic. I mean, in the story, Joker is constantly testing Batman, Gordon, Barbara in ways that are both mental and physical. I mean, with Barbara, he shoots her, paralyzing her, and sexually assaults her, and she has to deal with the trauma of that. Whilst Batman and Gordon are trying to catch the Joker, and Joker ends up catching Gordon and also kind of testing him mentally, showing him pictures of his daughter getting sexually assaulted. So yeah, this is a very heavy topic. It's really something that you wouldn't expect to see in a comic, but they go there in this, and it's pretty tough to get through. As I said earlier, that's exactly what it's meant to do. It's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable, and in a weird way you start to understand what the Joker is trying to get across in this. It's that sanity is an idea. It is based upon your personal truth, and if that truth gets tested, if it's broken in any way, then who are you? You know, if you base your whole life around that truth, what happens to you when your surrounding falls, when your stability is no longer there? You know, you break too. And so he was trying to do that and test them all. And I mean, by the end of it, you realize that it didn't work with Gordon. Batman does catch up with the Joker and kind of confronts him, saying like, hey, it doesn't have to be this way. We don't have to kill each other. Like, I can help you, kind of thing. And Joker, for like a split second, contemplates it, and you see that little tiny bit of humanity still lurking in there within him, and it wants to come out, but it doesn't. And then, like, the Joker tells Batman that joke that's pretty much a metaphor for their entire, like, cat and mouse relationship. You know, I'm not going to go through it verbatim, but to paraphrase, basically two inmates are trying to escape, and one offers to help the other, and then the other one says, "You crazy? I mean, why should I trust you? You're not going to help me." And then they just both Batman and Joker start laughing, like start cracking up. That was probably a terrible way to paraphrase it, but if you want to read the whole thing, just go get the book. But yeah, they start laughing and then it ends. And that's where it's like open to interpretation, because they just kind of fade away and we are left focusing on the puddle on the ground. Which is really odd, and like that's the last like panel that you see with both of them. And I mean, some people say that, oh, Batman is killing Joker there, like strangling him, and because the laugh also just fades. But you know, it's whatever you think it is. That's the cool part about this book. So what else did I like? Oh, obviously the art was incredible in this. You got this super iconic panel here of the Joker. Brian Bolland just freaking knocks it out the park. And I do love Higgins' color work on this too. I know with this one, this deluxe edition, it was Brian Bolland that actually recolored everything. And I gotta say, I'm more partial to the Higgins work. This just felt a lot more flat to me in tone. Personally, I think Higgins did a great job with kind of making Joker's panels pop, and you know, making the greens and the reds, yellows stand out, kind of, you know, representing that chaos, and then Batman over here always in the dark tones, just kind of reinforcing that the two extremes, you know, good and evil, sane and insane. Something I really liked that Higgins did as well was that every time they flashed back to Joker's past, it was this like orange sepia looking hue to it, so you knew immediately that it wasn't the present time. Love that. And also they had some crazy good transitioning between past and present, not just with the coloring, but also with Brian Bolland's artwork. Let's see if I can find it here. So here we go. Here's an example of where they cut from the past to where he is reaching out to his wife's hand here, and then it jumps to the present where he is in the same motion of reaching out, but this time to this laughing clown right here. I just love that. I know in editing we call it like match framing, but I don't know what it's called in comics. I guess match paneling? I don't know. But it's really cool for the transitions. I think it's really effective for the story too. And that's something I haven't really gone into. The actual Joker origin story here. I thought it was really interesting to see, you know, what makes Joker tick, what happened to him. Just nothing was going right for him. All you need is one bad day, right? He wasn't finding jobs, he couldn't support his wife, couldn't pay rent, they were getting into arguments about it. You know, he ends up resorting to crime, petty crime for it, and his wife ends up dying, and he essentially has nothing to live for anymore. So he just takes a huge plunge into the darkness and into the chaos, and that's what happens to him. A part of me feels like it's not really necessary to know that, but I think for the themes in this, I think it works well. And like I said, I love the way they transition between the past and the present, and you know, why he's doing what he's doing. It's sad. It's really sad. But that being said, I still feel like it's something you should read at least once. It's not something that I like to reread over and over because it's so dark. But yeah, I brought this up earlier, the deluxe version. I think this is not necessary. I prefer the original version. It's just different coloring. They add a couple little things here and there. And then at the end is interesting because Brian Bolland like kind of tacks on his own ending to this, which is interesting. I won't give it away, but I don't really necessarily think it fit quite well, but I see where he was going with it. It's a really nice book to have for the format of it. I like the hardcover and everything, but in terms of like the upgrades and stuff that they did to it, I prefer the oldie but goodie. So anyways guys, that's about it for my video. If you enjoyed it, give me a like or subscribe or both. I don't hate it. And you catch me on Twitter and on Instagram at PopDotComix, and I guess I'll catch y'all over there. Later.